Hey, what's up? This your boy Big Man. You already know what it is, man. So let's get right to it. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about Hotboy Wes. Now, Hotboy Wes is one of Gucci Mane's artists on his 1017 label, man. Hotboy Wes was supposed to be the answer to come in after all of Gucci Mane's artists were getting locked up. Well, it looks like Hotboy Wes, according to some reports out there, has gotten locked up himself. And he got locked up by the U.S. Marshals, according to these stories, man. Now, Hotboy Wes is fairly new to 1017. Gucci Mane has been trying to establish his roster, establish his team, but he's had some hiccups in the way. He had Pooh Shiesty get locked up. He had Fujiano get locked up. And neither one of them look like they're going to be on the streets anytime soon. So he started to develop his roster some more, included Hotboy Wes, and thought things were going to be all good. I mean, he's repping Texas. He's got a new type of flavor. Not too many rappers out of Waco besides him and Waco trying. So, it was about to be a big deal, man. Well, it looks like Gucci Mane has been thrown another monkey wrench in the game with his star artist, one of his star artists, getting locked up, man. Now, before we get to the story and break down this news and what's going on with Hotboy Wes, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And man, let's get it. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about Hotboy Wes and this whole getting locked up ordeal that he's got going on, man. Now, as I said in the intro, Hotboy Wes, a Waco, Texas rap artist, man, newly signed to Gucci Mane, was going to carry the 1017 mantra on, man. It was going to be on, man. But it looks like he got locked up just like the rest of our top artists on the roster. I think Big Scar is the only person who's been staying out of trouble from 1017, man. Everybody else locked up, man. I don't know if this says something about Gucci Mane and his management style, or he just gives them free reign to do what they got to do. I mean, they're grown men at the end of the day. But man, when your whole roster is locked up pretty much, I mean, at least 75, 90% of your roster locked up, that's not a good look, man, for your future income, especially when these cats are coming into the game hot. They getting the high-level interviews. They getting all the praises from the industry just because they got that Gucci Mane co-sign. It just falls in line for him pretty much. But it looks like, man, for Hotboy Wes, he has an issue that he has to deal with legally, and let's break it down. Now, the headline of the story says this. It says, Waco rapper Hotboy Wes arrested on robbery warrant. So obviously you can deduce from that there was a warrant out for him committing robbery, man. Now, him being signed, flashing all that money all the time on his social media, you'd be like, what in the world is he robbing anybody for? So, I mean, just like it says, man, you're innocent until proven guilty, so we don't know if he did this. But the story starts off by saying this. It says, Waco, Texas. The U.S. Marshal Service Lone Star Fugitive Task Force on Monday arrested a well-known Waco rap artist, Wesley Taekwon Lewis, also known as Hotboy Wes. He was arrested Monday afternoon. So this looks like Monday afternoon, they sent in that task force, man, the fugitive task force with the U.S. Marshals to grab him up, man. And these things come out of nowhere, man. I wonder if he even knew he had a warrant. I mean, possibly, maybe not, but let's continue. Now it says the 26-year-old Lewis is wanted on a Hewitt Police Department robbery warrant. So they're not saying so far who or where, or what time period this took place is the best explanation. But, man, we can only assume, it's something recent if he's getting locked up now. Or maybe not. Let's see. Now, the story continues by saying he was listed on the McLennan County jail log Monday night with 2 additional charges from the McLennan County Sheriff's Office of unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon and theft of a firearm. Now, that unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon is a tough one, man. Even in a state like Texas where, it's pretty lenient on guns. Having a gun isn't frowned upon or looked at in any sort of way. It's just a normal thing. It's a lot of people carry, it's just, that's how Texas is, right? So, but him being a felon, there's no state in America that I know of where he can get away with that. Him having a gun, being a felon, and him not seeing any time. Now, I'm not saying that he did this, let's foot stomp that. But the other charge is theft of a firearm. So they're saying that the weapon was obviously stolen, you know what I'm saying? So the weapon was stolen, and having the weapon on top of that complicates things, him being a convicted felon. Now, in his stories out there, like in all the interviews that he's done, and he's done several, man, he has an interesting story, but it does talk about him being, or he talks about himself being incarcerated a lot, the politics and when he was incarcerated, all the things that went down. Interesting interviews, man. He seemed like he was going to be an interesting cat in the hip-hop game, and I hate to say it like it's over or something like that. It looks like he's going to have a fight on his hands. Now, the story also says this. It says, according to officials with the McLennan County Sheriff's Office, Lewis was in a vehicle stopped at 9th and Collard in Waco. At the time, he was spotted by authorities and taken into custody. So they said they already had the warrant for him. They saw him in traffic on this 9th and Collard in Waco, wherever that road is, and they saw him and just stopped him there and took him into custody. So it looks like they didn't have to pull some type of, rush into the door, have to bring out the SWAT and all that. None of that craziness, man. It looks like they just saw him in traffic and were able to apprehend him there. Now, it also says a stolen gun was recovered from the vehicle, officials said, and 3 additional suspected gang members inside the vehicle were also arrested. So this is where it gets complicated, because the other 3 people who are in the car with him, they're going to be, and if they're already in the system as gang members, that complicates things as well, because now you have everything's getting boosted up. You got gang members, gang ties to everything, and then you got the stolen weapon, and I'm not sure if any of them are convicted felons as well. This is just a bad look for him and his crew, man, if all this turns out to be true. You know what I mean? Now, the story finishes by saying this. It says, members of MCSO's Fugitive Apprehension and Special Task Unit are on the federal task force. So they're letting it be known that there were, I guess, people from the local government there, or the local officials and authorities there, they were actually on that task force that apprehended him as well. So him and his homeboys, I'm assuming, right? Now, it also says this. It says that the local news there had another charge, or had a case or a story that they ran in February of 2020 when he tried to run somebody off the road, man. So it looks like, man, on top of that, they're talking about the fact that he had a prior conviction for that, or at least he had been arrested or accused of that prior. It doesn't say that he was convicted, so we'll leave that one alone, right? Now, it also says that according to The Vibe, a hip-hop publication, Gucci Mane signed Hotboy Wes to his new 1017 Records in the summer of 2021. Obviously, the summer of 2021 was pretty hectic for Gucci Mane and 1017 because his 2 biggest breadwinners were locked up. You had Pooh. Shiesty was a hit out the gate. Hip-hop had already accepted him. He already had a hit song with Back in Blood. It was on, man. And then Fujiana was doing the same exact thing, man. Now you got Hotboy Wes locked up, man. Gucci Mane, it's some bad luck over there, man. I mean, not saying it's Gucci Mane's fault in any way, but what do you guys think about this? Do you think Gucci Mane will be able to rebrand and maybe possibly sign some other artists? I mean, he does have big scars still, so, there's still that possibility. But with all his artists getting, not all, but 90% of his artists getting locked up, maybe even 75% of his artists locked up that are well known, do you think he could still function as a label in this hip-hop industry that's ever-changing, and there's always new rappers coming up to bat, man? Now, with that, this has been your boy Big Man. Do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification every time I drop this hot content. And we out of here. Peace.